group of friends decide to take a late-night walk through a seemingly peaceful park. As they make their way through the dark paths, strange occurrences start happening around them. They hear eerie whispers and see shadows moving in the corners of their eyes. As they continue on, the group realizes that they are not alone in the park. They start to feel a malevolent presence watching them, and their fear grows as they become lost in the maze-like layout of the park. Suddenly, they hear screams and find a bloodied trail leading them to a small clearing. There, they discover the source of the horror, a mysterious figure with glowing eyes and a twisted smile, holding a bloody knife. As they try to escape, they realize that the park itself is alive, with trees and vines reaching out to grab them. The group is forced to fight for their lives as they navigate through the park's deadly traps and obstacles, all while being pursued by the menacing figure. The group runs as fast as they can, but the park seems to be playing tricks on them, leading them in circles and dead ends. They hear the sound of the figure's footsteps getting closer and closer, and their panic turns to desperation. One of the friends spots a nearby maintenance shed and they all rush inside, hoping to find something to defend themselves with. The shed is dimly lit, and as their eyes adjust to the darkness, they realize that they are not alone. There, in the shadows, they see the bodies of several other people who have met a similar fate. Some are hanging from the ceiling, others are strewn across the floor, their lifeless eyes staring back at the group. Just as they are about to turn and run, the figure appears at the entrance of the shed, its glowing eyes piercing through the darkness. The group stands frozen in terror as it approaches them, the sound of its raspy breathing filling the air. Suddenly, the figure stops in its tracks and begins to convulse violently, its body twisting and contorting in unnatural ways. The group watches in horror as the figure transforms into a mass of writhing vines and thorns, its tendrils reaching out to ensnare them. In a burst of adrenaline, the group fights back with whatever they can find, using tools and equipment from the shed as weapons. They manage to break free from the vines and escape from the park, but the memory of that terrifying night will stay with them forever. As the sun rises over the park, the vines and thorns slowly recede, and the park returns to its tranquil appearance, as if nothing had ever happened. But the group knows the truth, that something evil lurks within the park, waiting for its next victim. The group reports their experience to the authorities, but their story is met with skepticism and disbelief. No evidence of the figure or the murderous finds is found, and the park remains open to the public. But the group is not willing to let it go. They start their own investigation, poring over old newspaper clippings and reports of strange occurrences in the park. They talk to locals and gather information about the history of the area. What they uncover is a chilling truth: ls the park was built on the site of an old plantation that was used for dark and twisted experiments on slaves. The vines and thorns that seemed to come to life were actually the physical manifestation of the pain and suffering inflicted on those slaves. Determined to put an end to the evil that still lurks within the park, the group decides to take matters into their own hands. They sneak into the park after hours, armed with weapons and tools they've acquired for the task. As they make their way through the park, they encounter more of the vines and thorns, but this time they are ready. They cut through them with machetes and axes, and they are soon faced with the figure once again. But this time, they are not afraid. They confront the figure head-on, revealing its true nature as the embodiment of the plantation owner who inflicted such cruelty on his slaves. They fight him with all their might, and in the end, they manage to defeat him. As the sun rises once again over the park, the group stands victorious. The vines and thorns begin to wither away, and the park returns to its tranquil state. But the group knows that they have put an end to the horror that plagued the park for so long. From that day on, the park is no longer a place of fear and terror. It becomes a place of remembrance and reflection, a reminder of the atrocities that were committed there and the courage of those who fought to overcome them. The group's actions gain national attention, and they become champions of the fight against the park's dark past. They continue their efforts, advocating for the park's history to be taught and remembered, and for the victims to be properly honored. Their work pays off, as the park becomes a symbol of hope and progress, a place where people can learn from the past and work towards a better future. The group's bravery and determination inspire others to stand up against injustice and to fight for what is right. Years go by, and the park becomes a beloved and cherished part of the community. But the group never forgets the horrors they faced and the lives that were lost. They visit the park often, paying their respects to those who suffered there and vowing to never let such evil take root again. In the end, the park becomes a testament to the power of resilience and the human spirit. It serves as a reminder that even in the face of darkness, there is always hope for a brighter tomorrow. And the group's legacy lives on, inspiring generations to come to stand up against injustice and to fight for a better world.